and welcome back everyone to a video series dedicated to CBS's Big Brother Season 22 All-Stars, or All-Stars 2 if you're being technical. Now, the way this video is going to be formatted, the first part of this video is going to be a review and recap of Sunday's broadcast, or Sunday's episode, and then I will shift things over to the live feed updates. I'll let you know in the middle of it if you do not want to be spoiled about veto players, and the veto winner, and everything else that's happening within the house. So with that being said, let's start off where last episode left off, and that was Memphis winning HOH for week 2 of this game, his first time ever being HOH, and we get the beginning diary confessions of people saying that they feel as though they're on good terms with Memphis, that he's quiet, but they think that, oh, we've connected, so I may be good for this week. And a lot of people in the diary room are saying, hey, it could be a good thing that Memphis is HOH. This must have been first impressions, because on the live feeds by the night's end of his just first night of being HOH, people were kind of annoyed by Memphis. Not only his 6-person alliance with Danny, Cody, and all of them, but also Janelle and Kaser, everybody in between. They were just not having Memphis, and there was this weird vibe and juju in the house once Memphis took over as HOH. Memphis is going on a crazy power trip, and he has this demanding tone. It's a little bit aggressive in the way he talks to people and what he wants to accomplish this week and what he wants them to do this week. And that didn't come out fully, or even a quarter of what is actually happening with Memphis in the house with everybody else. Let's just get into the have-not ceremony. So the have-not situation this season is that all the have-nots from the previous week will pick somebody to pass down their have-notry to them, and then they will have to be the have-nots, and then it'll keep on going that way. David, Nicole F., Christmas, and Kaser were all picked to be have-nots for the week. Now, before we get too deep into game talk and the safety suite and everything, I wanted to turn things over to a more personal note and a personal conversation that was had in the beginning of this episode, and it was between Devon, Bailey, Danny, and Kevin, and they were talking in the little area right next to the HOH bedroom, and they were talking about life experiences and growing up. Bailey was talking about her experiences growing up in a predominantly white area, and then Devon shares her experiences with racism and the type of names she was called by ignorant people and the racially charged comments that cut deep within her, to where at one point she didn't feel beautiful or comfortable or confident in her own skin. She got very vulnerable in the diary room. She was crying, she was shedding tears, and it's important. I commend CBS for sharing this personal conversation that, even though it was only 2.5 minutes, I think it's an important 2.5 minutes to share and to put on a broadcast that is broadcasted out to millions of people. Now, let's move back into the game talk. And we move into where Memphis's whole prerogative in the beginning of his HOH reign is to be a mystery, to be an enigma to people, and to be letting people question where he lies in the house and what he's going to do and who he's going to put up, because he wants everybody to play in the safety suite, everybody but him and Cody. So the more people he gets to play in the safety suite, the better odds he has of winning it next week and being safe for 3 weeks in a row. Everybody has no idea where Memphis lies, so there's going to be a ton of people playing in this week's safety suite. We have David, Ian, Christmas, Bailey, Devon, Cody, Kevin. They're all playing. Now, before the competition was played, Christmas and Ian strike up that deal that if Christmas wins, that she is going to save Ian with a +1, and that he will help her in any way or any capacity next week if she's HOH or whatever, whether it be voting or anything. The competition, which is called Getting Tipsy. Now, they have a set of weighted drinks that they have to balance on these very wobbly tables. Once you have both tables balanced with all the drinks on them, you have to run over to your buzzer, hit it, and that'll stop your time. The person with the quickest time will win safety for the week, and they will get to choose someone else to be their +1 to be safe for the week as well. So everyone's doing this thing. To me, I would have loved to play this game much more than I would rather play the week 1 game. This week 2 game seems a lot easier than the week 1 game. I would have done terrible with the buttons and trying to figure out where everything is or trying to remember which buttons were which. This one is pretty straightforward. You're just setting drinks on a table and trying to do it the quickest. Everyone's doing their thing. Devon, at the end of her turn, thinks that she has got it locked up. She is feeling good about herself until the results come in, and her time comes in well over 8 minutes. The rest of everyone is around the 2 to 3 minute mark, except for Christmas, who comes in with a fantastic time of like 1.5 minutes. And so she wins it handily. She has to pick somebody to save. Of course, she keeps to her word and she saves Ian, which ultimately pisses Memphis off. Like, he is totally upset with that. He wanted to throw Ian on the block. He wanted to get him out, especially because of Big Brother 14, where Ian won against Dan. He wanted revenge for Dan, but I think it's also a little thing with him because he went up against Dan, couldn't win, but Ian did and won. We get to nominations and he goes with the quote-unquote safe plan, and he puts up Big Brother 21 compadres, Nicole A. and David. His reasoning for that is that Nicole A. he told to play in the safety suite and she didn't. So this is like her punishment to throw her up on the block. And then he put up David because, hey, you're at the grown-ups table. And for some reason, Memphis thinks that David needs to prove something to Memphis on why he's here. No, he doesn't. Nobody has to prove anything to anybody of why they're here. CBS called them. They're on the show, they're in the house. The only thing that people have to prove in this game to anyone is to the jury at final 2 on whether they should win or not. Not week 2, and I'm gonna put you on the block and you're at the grown-ups table. Get out of here, Memphis. He is such on a power trip. I'm done. I'm done with this week. I'm done with Memphis. But that is it for this episode. What did you think about this episode? Let me know that in the comment section below. Who are you rooting for? What do you think about Memphis's HOH? And what do you think about the whole safety suite comp and Christmas saving Ian? Let me know that in the comment section below. Thank you so much for watching. Now I'm gonna go into live feed updates, and boy oh boy, it's been a week. It's been a long week, and it's not even up yet. But let's start off in the veto competition. The players picked to play in this veto competition was Memphis, Nicole A, and David, of course. And then you have Ian, Nicole F, and Tyler. Ian and Tyler's pegs must be at the very top because they're playing in their second straight veto competition. And this past week's host was Enzo. The competition was played, and Memphis ultimately won the power of veto, meaning that there's a 99% probability that the nominations are going to stay the same, and it seems as though that Nicole A is going to be voted out on Thursday night. Now, everything that's happening alliance-wise, again, people are very upset with Memphis. They're kind of been rubbed the wrong way. His alliance is already trying to figure out a way to like bring somebody else in and possibly take him out when they don't need him at like as soon as possible. Tyler and Christmas have both talked to each other about like, we don't really care for Memphis, we don't like Memphis, and we're gonna take him out as soon as possible. As soon as the rest of the alliance are like, cool, we can cut the cord, let's do it. Memphis is pissing off Janelle and Kaser because Janelle and Kaser are like, we need numbers. We need to start something. There's already rumors that there's a 4-person alliance, possibly more person alliance out there, and they need to start getting numbers on their side. So they're going up to Memphis thinking, hey, we need to start moving. You're in power. This is the perfect time to start striking up deals with people. And Memphis is shutting them down at every turn, and they are getting infuriated. So they took it upon themselves to start talking to people and figuring out a good team that they can bring in together, and then ask for Memphis' forgiveness, but then just bring him in because they need him. They need numbers. So they are talking to Christmas, Davon, and Bailey about striking up an alliance, being a 6-person alliance. Now, of course, they talked to Christmas, and Christmas already ran over to Nicole F and that other side's alliance, telling them all the details. Davon has been very worried or nervous about Janelle and working with them. Bailey is very tight with Janelle and Kaser, but it's not looking good for Janelle and Kaser's numbers. They definitely need to win HOH next week, or they're going to be up and in jeopardy. Now, there's a lot of people getting frustrated or agitated within the house, and mainly that is Cody. Now, Cody is being agitated by just being in the house and being frustrated that he's not with his family, not with his girlfriend. And then he's getting frustrated with everybody else that's not necessarily in his alliances. He's been talking a lot of smack about Devon. She walked past him in the kitchen and was like, oh, she's acting so passive aggressive. He doesn't feel she's being truthful with him and Enzo, or like laying it all out there on what's happening with Janelle. And so he's now wanting to target them at some point and take them out when they don't need them to vote. And Danny has talked about catching Devon in lies. So now there's like a lot of dissension happening within like the Connect Four alliance of Cody, Enzo, Bailey, and Devon. Also, Cody is talking about how Devon and Bailey talked to him a lot when he was HOH last week. Now that he's not HOH, they're not talking as much. So there's a lot of red flags happening within the house, within the alliances and quote unquote alliances. This is going to be the important week of who's going to win the HOH competition. If it's anybody besides Janelle and Kaser, Janelle and Kaser are going to be most likely up on the block and having to fight against one another to stay in this game. But if they can win, then possibly this game could be turned upside down or differently. So I'm really keeping my fingers crossed that something else happens in this week. They said not a lot is going to happen until after the veto ceremony, once they see who's definitely going to be on the nomination block past that point, and then they can make the quote-unquote alliances solidified. So we're gonna have to wait and see after the whole veto ceremony play out on the live feeds on Tuesday, see what's gonna happen leading into Thursday nights. But that is it for this video on Big Brother All-Stars. What do you think about this video? What do you think about the alliances? Who do you think is going to turn on who first? Let me know that in the comment section below. But thank you so much for watching. While you're down there, hit that like and subscribe button. I'll be back really soon with more content, Big Brother content, challenge content, more content in general. But until then, peace.